Sue Bird, one of the most iconic figures in basketball history, is no stranger to headlines. With an illustrious career spanning 2 decades, 4 WNBA championships, and a legacy that will live on for generations, Bird has more than earned the right to speak her mind. But no one could have anticipated the firestorm that would follow when she recently vented her frustrations publicly, directly targeting rising star Caitlin Clark and the unforeseen fallout of the WNBA's ticket price crash. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. It all began with a clip that went viral faster than a three-point buzzer beater. In the clip, Sue Bird was seen lashing out about the $5 ticket prices for WNBA games, something that many fans had already been grumbling about. Her frustration was palpable as she exclaimed, "This isn't what we built the league for." But what turned heads even more was who she blamed. None other than the young phenom, Caitlin Clark. According to Bird, Clark's explosive rise in popularity and, more notably, her perceived influence on marketing strategies and fan expectations, was partly responsible for devaluing the WNBA's product. For context, Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of a revelation in women's basketball. With her dazzling shooting ability, court vision, and undeniable swagger, Clark has become a household name well before her professional career has even truly taken off. She brings an undeniable buzz to the game. College games featuring Clark were selling out arenas and drawing national attention, with sports analysts salivating over her potential to be the next big thing in women's sports. The hype surrounding Clark was more than justified. However, to Sue Bird, this came with consequences that extended beyond the highlights. Bird's outburst was partly rooted in a deeper frustration with what she viewed as a race to the bottom, in terms of valuing the women's game. The $5 ticket prices were, in her eyes, symbolic of a larger issue. The WNBA, which has fought for decades to carve out space in the sports landscape, was now being undermined by what Bird described as short-sighted marketing moves. The league wasn't just selling cheap tickets, it was selling itself short. The irony, of course, is that Caitlin Clark, whom Bird directed her ire toward, wasn't the one pricing the tickets. But in Bird's mind, Clark's rapid ascension and the frenzy it caused had led to an environment where the WNBA was trying too hard to chase the moment rather than build something sustainable. The argument was simple. By capitalizing on the popularity of individual players like Clark, the league was shifting focus from its long-term growth strategies. Bird wanted the WNBA to be seen as more than just a spectacle, more than just the Caitlin Clark show or any singular athlete's playground. To her, it was about the league, the game, the bigger picture. Some fans took Bird's words as a sign of jealousy. After all, she had been the face of the league for so long, and here was Clark, fresh out of college, already pulling attention away. But those who know Bird best would argue that her reaction came not from envy, but from a genuine concern for the future of the sport. Bird, a veteran who had seen the highs and lows of the WNBA's journey, was protective of the league's identity. She had put in the work, endured the growing pains, and fought for every inch of recognition. Watching what she perceived as a devaluation of all that hard work was, in her mind, a betrayal. But let's rewind for a moment. Why $5? Why did ticket prices fall so drastically that it sparked outrage from one of the league's most respected figures? The answer is a tangled web of economics, marketing strategy, and yes, the Caitlin Clark effect. Clark, whether she intended to or not, brought a tidal wave of interest to women's basketball. Fans who might have previously ignored or overlooked the WNBA were suddenly tuning in, hoping to see the next great star. With this surge in attention, teams in the league saw an opportunity. The logic was simple: offer cheaper tickets, bring in more fans, and hope they stick around long-term. But as Sue Bird saw it, this strategy was fundamentally flawed. For years, the WNBA had struggled with ticket sales, often relying on dedicated but smaller fan bases. The league's efforts to grow its audience have been gradual, relying on a mix of grassroots promotion, star power, and an increasing focus on digital content. But the $5 ticket experiment felt like a step backward to Bird. Instead of gradually raising the value of the product, it was being sold at a discount, with the hope that cheap tickets would translate into more butts and seats. In Bird's view, it was a gamble that could have lasting negative effects. Her fears weren't entirely unfounded. Selling tickets at rock-bottom prices doesn't necessarily equate to long-term growth. In some ways, it sets a precedent that the product isn't worth more. For a league that had long fought for respect, equal pay, and visibility, this kind of messaging could be damaging. It was as if the WNBA was signaling that its games were a bargain bin item, rather than a premier sports entertainment product worthy of proper investment. The finger pointing at Caitlin Clark added a layer of complexity to the situation. Clark, for her part, hadn't done anything wrong. She was simply a byproduct of a basketball culture that loves to latch onto stars and ride the wave of their popularity. But Bird saw it differently. Clark's rise had become a distraction in a sense. Instead of focusing on the league as a whole, fans, media, and even the league itself were seemingly obsessed with one player. And while that player was undeniably special, Bird felt it wasn't the right approach to building a sustainable league. Bird's explosive comments sparked a debate that went far beyond ticket prices. What was the future of the WNBA? Was it about star power, or was it about building a league with depth, integrity, and a lasting impact? The younger generation, especially those new to the sport thanks to players like Clark, might have seen Bird's reaction as out of touch. But to the veterans, her words carried the weight of experience. Bird's rant also exposed an uncomfortable truth. The WNBA is still figuring out how to handle the growth it has been fighting for. It's not just about getting people in the door. It's about building a culture around the game that lasts. Cheap tickets might bring in a crowd today, but what happens when the novelty wears off? How does the league ensure that fans keep coming back and, more importantly, that they see the value in coming back? The $5 ticket scandal, as it came to be known, was about more than just pricing. It was about respect, legacy, and the direction of a league that had fought tooth and nail to get where it was. Sue Bird wasn't just angry about ticket prices. She was angry about the potential erosion of everything the WNBA had worked for. Her outburst, fiery as it was, came from a place of passion and love for the game. But perhaps the most interesting part of Bird's rant was the implicit message to Caitlin Clark herself. Bird wasn't saying, "You don't belong here." She wasn't telling Clark to get out of the spotlight. What she was really saying was, "This league is bigger than you, bigger than any one player." Bird wanted Clark, and by extension, all the young stars coming into the league, to understand that the WNBA's value wasn't just in individual performances or viral highlights. It was in the league as a whole, the community it had built, and the foundation it had laid over years of hard work. As the dust settled from Bird's tirade, one thing became clear. The conversation around the WNBA, its stars, and its future was far from over. Bird's words had reignited a debate about how the league should evolve, how it should be marketed, and what kind of legacy it should leave behind. Caitlin Clark, for her part, remained focused on her game, seemingly unbothered by the controversy swirling around her name. But the implications of Bird's rant would linger. For many, Bird's comments were a wake-up call. The WNBA isn't a charity case, and it shouldn't be treated as such. Selling tickets for $5 might seem like a harmless marketing gimmick, but to Bird, it represented something far more insidious, a devaluation of the game she had dedicated her life to. In the end, Bird's message was clear: don't cheapen the league. Don't let short-term gains overshadow long-term growth. And most importantly, don't let the WNBA become just another spectacle. It's more than that. It's a movement, a legacy, a testament to how far women's sports have come, and how much further they still have to go. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more engaging content. We thrive on your feedback, so be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, keep discovering and stay tuned.